Hello YouTubers. I've made a de-restriction video so far on the Generation 1 and Generation 2, so up to 2018 onwards. Now we've got a new one, we've got the 2021. So I haven't done this yet. I haven't done a trial run either, so this is new to me. So you're going to be watching me do it for my first time, hopefully to help you with your first time as well. I've got all my tools set up over there already, ready to go. This bike's practically brand new. I've already changed the bar end mirrors, or changed the mirrors to the bar end mirrors. The screen was already fitted. Added the sliders, pillion peg delete, and I'll also be adding a tail tidy, a USB charger, and then I'll be attacking the front shocks with preload adjusters, higher weight oil, and I'll be adjusting the air gap as well, just to freshen up the front end. But today is about the de-restriction, so let's get started. Now if you're going to use power tools like an impact, have some experience when it comes to being a little bit delicate and mindful of fasteners and how they work, and have it's pretty important to have a variable throttle as well, because you do need to use it like that. What have we got? First things first, boot. I also wanted to note that I have a little trick that I do these pillion seats, because they never actually release from factory, so you have to hold the key down and then use your other hand at the same time to pull it up. Plus they wobble around quite a lot. This one, you'll notice it barely moves, and when I turn the key, voila, done. My other hand was free, by the way. And the trick's real simple. I'm probably thinking, alright, well, hurry up and tell us the trick. I'll think about it. We'll see. I already took these bolts out, but there's just two Allen bolts to go here, obviously. Okay, actually before we get too far into it, I'll do a little bit of prep work. This is something that you don't necessarily have to do it. You can do this without scratching it, but because it's not my bike and the customer's paying me, I do go above and beyond and just make sure I don't hand it back to them with scratches on their brand new shiny tank airbox. And look, it's pretty quick to do it as well. This is just some painter's tape. I'm just going to cover it in the areas that are at risk of being scuffed and scratched. I also removed these side panels. This was off earlier when I did the exhaust. I didn't bother bolting back up, so then I was going to take it off. These are actually plastic now, rather than the aluminium ones. I'm a bit of a nerd, so I actually weighed the difference, and between these and the earlier models, there's a 750 gram weight difference, so 300 and something grams each. Good to know. This side, in my opinion, requires a little bit more tape than the other side. That's enough tape. Alright, next side panel comes off. Why the Phillips rivet? Honestly, what's wrong with the push rivets they've used like forever on every chunk of plug they've ever had? These things infuriate me. They're fucking just so shit. Especially in this cramped location. Like, what drugs are they fucking on? Oh, another thing that doesn't really make any sense to me is the headlight and just how much movement there is. So the spaces they've got in here are, in my opinion, too long, because they actually sit proud of the bracket and it stops the actual headlight from sitting against the bracket. So there's like 3 full millimeters. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's 3 full millimeters of lateral movement there. What? Why? What's going on with that shit? That makes no sense to me. None at all. And they did away with the little foam inserts there. To be fair, they were pretty fucking annoying, to be honest. They're always getting damaged or getting in the way. There's been a few little changes on here so far that I've noticed as well. That it was a long time coming. It would have been nice if they'd done it from day one, but whatever. Sounded like a releasing kind of crack, not a damaging, broken, oh shit kind of crack. That was a healthy sounding one, I hope. Just work it in like your first time getting inside. This seems unnecessarily difficult, to be honest, and just high risk, in my opinion, of causing damage, especially over the years of ownership. I mean, this is brand new, so the plastic has a lot of give in it, but if you spent 5-10 years in the sun or outdoors, chances are you're probably going to break some of these clips that are in behind there. Yamaha would know that, but that's where they make the money. Time to get a bit more Mongo on it, I think. Being a bit too gentle with it. Whoops. There we go. Here's your daddy. Cool. 2 more, 3 more. And the push of it. So this setup's different to the 2018 again. I thought it was actually a case in point. It just fucking stopped recording. So a few times I've just heard my GoPro in the background just go beep beep beep, turn on with no music, no one talking, just GoPro going, oh, you know what, fuck man, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna turn myself on now. I bet he wants to record a video. I know he didn't ask, but he gives a fuck what he wants anyway. Alright, what's next? So we're going to undo the tank. Fuck. Alright, yeah, that's right. It wasn't tight. It was alright. Let's a little more. Just a little tight. So underneath this, we are going to have the electronic connection and then a physical hose connection. So to keep the tank from crushing our hands, or just basically making the task of taking the fuel hose off really tedious, I like to prop the tank up a bit. And I do that by using extension and a 32mm half drive socket, which I will place like this. Let me get the camera right. Place it just in there, just like that. Oops, sorry, no, other way around, my bad. If you guys don't have one of these, you can still do it. You'll just be doing it the way I've always done it for however many years I've been doing this, like 6 years. Up until very recently. I only got these like a few months ago. And I jump at every chance that I get to use them, because it's like, holy shit, where the fuck have you been my whole life? Why have I never bought these before? Trying to take these hose clamps off, like these hoses, these fuel lines and shit off without these is bullshit. It's fucking, and it's more difficult than it has the right to be. And these very simply make life so much easier. So we'll take that plug out. For the uninitiated, when I disconnect this fuel hose, it will leak. I'm just gonna make sure I can see. I mean, you guys can see, because I care. Yep, cool. Now, there's a retaining clip here that you just push it back and it'll slide. You'll hear it click. It physically moves about 4 or 5mm up, so it needs to be in the up position before you can actually squeeze the two sides together to release the hose from its intended location to deliver fuel. Now, I'm going to try and come in from this angle. Hopefully it's a bit better, because these brackets seem to be in the way. It's pretty annoying. Great, I can't see now. Shit. Anyway, I'll try to do this blind. My hands can't be in the way. This is a problem here. Maybe I'll put the camera down. Just give me a second. There we go. Boom. Just like that. Alright viewers, I'm back. So my GoPro was running on battery and the screen was hot as fuck. So I decided to try and cool it down with a damp rag. And because I got a little crack in the screen, because GoPro's lenses are just, they're made out of, what's the most fragile material on the planet, you reckon? Whatever that might be, it's what they decided to make the lens out of. So this action camera has a lens that if you just look at it wrong, like if you give it a bit of a greasy or mean look, it'll crack. It doesn't want to know about it. It can't fucking deal with it. And so my first lens cracked during a wheelie practice session, and I had it mounted on the swing arm. I guess a pebble flicked up and gone. So I made them send me a replacement for free, because I made the point that this is fucking bullshit. You sell as an action camera that can't handle action, whereas the old one, right up to the 4, was provided with a case that the lens was protected, but the case they provide, they don't protect the lens. So how the fuck do you call that an action camera when it's so fragile? And there's like literally millions of people with the same problem. So they sent me a new one in goodwill gesture. That lasted 2 weeks. It actually cracked while in my jacket pocket. So when I took it off the bike and I was walking inside the house, I don't know. I think when I knelt down or bent over, whatever, maybe my car key or house key, whatever the fuck was in my pocket at the time, pressed against the screen and the lens, and it broke. Just like that. The reason I'm boring you with that story is that while trying to cool the camera down, hot piece of shit that it is, using a genuine battery, blah blah blah, the screen got foggy because there's a crack in it, of course, and I could not get that fog to dissipate, and instead it kept spreading. So there was no point recording because all you would have seen is just fucking a white Christmas. So I had to take the lens off, and that's a fun little time thieving task. So yeah, that's done. Now I'm back, and then I had to jerry rig a little power bank to my chest strap and plug that in so I can get some powers, get the juice. Anyway, also while I was waiting for that to happen, you may notice just while I was talking, I put some of these bolts in. Little tip that I learned, and this is before YouTube, believe it or not. This is way before then. It's actually when I started learning on cars when I was 18, so 17 years ago basically, is to avoid losing the bolts or forgetting where they go, is just to fucking put them back where they came from. I know, right? It's just so obvious. If you'd like to send me appreciation money for my tips, feel free. I'll take cash only. Ta-da! That's all. Just gonna throw that over here. Kidding. Never do that to someone else's bike. Alrighty. Now this is going to have feel on it still, so give it a bit of a twist and wiggle and yank it like it's your doodle, and that'll just try and what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck, English is hard, man. Words are difficult. I think it's all over my hands now. Basically just want to try and coerce whatever feels in there so it doesn't go all over the tank, the airbox and fairings and whatnot. Not that it does any damage if you clean up straight away, but who the fuck wants to deal with the mess and the panic attack that follows? So while it just continues to dribble money, I'll remove the air filter. Doing these screws, these are hot. Doing these by hand with an actual screwdriver is tedious, because actually in quite tight, so unless you've got forearms the size of my thighs, like you're not going to be really going with your hands, but with an impact it's like having power steering, you just don't feel it. And one thing I noticed in my previous videos is it's hard to see down in there, so let there be light. I've stuck extra strong magnets to the bottom of these. Oops. Making this video, I hope you guys appreciate it. I do it for free, even though it takes me literally twice as long to fucking do this job. I don't get paid extra, and it's a thankless job. In fact, you wouldn't believe just how many. And 1, a 2, and oh, potato. We got it done. And that's why I do it on the bench, because you even get to reuse them with the little dots on them. Alright guys, so I'm going to putting it in the vise. Do this at your own risk. If you fuck it up, I'm not responsible for it, okay? So I'm just going to let you guys use your own best judgment, whether you want to hold it with your feet. In my case, I'm going to use my soft jaws and rags at the back. It's moderately in there. I don't need to put any more because I'm not going to be putting too much pressure onto it. That's what it's saying. It's been smoking. I'm halfway done, or about 80% done. There it is. So I think I need to throw this flap disc out. I think it's a bit blunt or dull. It's not going very well. Anyway, so once I get to a certain point where there's only about a millimeter or so left, I swap the flap disc out and use this one. It's just the perfect size for what I want to do, which is just get consistent, efficient and accurate results every single time. I don't know, having a dog's breakfast result where each one's a little bit different to the next. So this just does help me provide a consistent result, and that's because the diameter is exactly right. Just coincidentally happens to be exactly what I want. But it will bog the drill down quite easily if there's just too much material left. The drill can't handle it. And even then, even from about a millimeter to go, it's still something you just have to ease into and just do it bit by bit. It also heats the rubber up insanely fast. So a little bit of water goes a long way. Alternate. In case you couldn't hear me, what I'm doing is just alternating between the two. That way while I'm doing this one will cool down a little bit, and then I hit back over there and just set it easy. Alright, so we're done. Looks pretty good. It's pretty consistent. You'll note I did leave a small lip here for when the throttle body seats into it as well. Is it necessary? I don't think so. I've done them with them, I've done them without them. I've never noticed a difference, but for this one, because the lip happens to be there perfectly anyway, I'm not going to remove it. The only times I typically remove it is when the lip's a little bit, you know, chewed off or whatever, or accidentally grinded down in one spot, then maybe. So it dawned on me that while I was off camera, I actually plugged this back in because I was having all the overheating problems with the GoPro, and I got a little bit frustrated. So I just done some stuff while the camera was cooling down, and it just slipped my mind that I didn't show it to you guys. So I just wanted to sort of, you know, cross my T's, dot my I's, make sure you guys are aware of it. Just to make sure you do plug this one back in for the ambient air temp sensor. I believe that's the only thing I missed in the video. So here it is. Oh, and also don't forget your breather lines for the fuel tank. Positive, that's the last thing.